Movement is a key component for survival in Fallout 4, but by removing the ability to have functioning limbs, we're left with the challenge of, can you beat Fallout 4 with all limbs crippled? Starting this run, we created our beautiful fish-looking masterpiece, after which we broke all our limbs and crawled to the kitchen for our first sip of coffee. A loud knock arrived at our door, but due to the lack of spinal support, I sat down and conversed with the friendly salesman. We picked our perks and made an announcement seeking assistance in our condition. The sale was finished and my baby began to cry. After comforting the Satan spawn, our wife asked us an important question.
I was thinking we could head to the park.
Go watch TV.
Not gonna happen.
My legs are broken. I need to stay home. But the nukes began to drop and we rushed for the vault. Well, some of us did. I hobbled towards the vault in a record speed of 20 minutes and reached our dungeon of safety. Making our way down, we got dressed and jumped into a hibernation pod. But we were rudely awoken. Our wife got capped, my BB got stolen, and we were refrozen again. Just like the Walmart pizza you left on the counter for too long. We woke up again from our slumber and were left to limp out of our cage. But here I discovered a technique that increased our odds of survival for this run, which involved a haymaker move that granted me at least an extra foot of distance. Each movement of a keystroke felt like a game of chess, choosing between mobility or having damage capabilities. We body slammed some rad roaches, got our Pip-Boy, and made our way into the world. We met up with our robot homie Codsworth, who pointed us in the direction of Concord. We aggressively fisted the air and made it to the city, where I made a discovery. I cannot shoot for shit. With a consistent amount of weapon sway from my broken arms, which felt like the equivalent of consuming 2 cans of sugar-free Monster energy drinks, each shot was a form of Russian roulette, whether my bullet would land or not. We cleared the streets and made our way into the museum, where we became a budget John Wick and started blasting our foes 50% of the time. Reaching Preston, we felt our final last touch of functioning limbs, mowed down a Deathclaw, and made our way towards Diamond City. Through several numbers of raiders, ghouls, and this abomination of a dog, we reached Piper at the gates of Diamond City and made our entry into this god-forbidden hellhole. We knocked on Nick's home, but he wasn't present due to unforeseen kidnapping, and had to rescue him from a bunch of Make-A-Wish gangsters. Compared to my other challenge, this time meeting these basement dwellers, we had a weapon of mass destruction at our hands. But somehow these 3 deadbeat leftovers of nuclear fallout managed to ravage my sphincter, but after a couple of attempts, we made it further down into the subway. As soon as I made it downstairs, a switch was flipped, and a form of aimbot became activated within my body. Shot after shot landed upon our enemies, and we eradicated each foe, which tickled my firm erection. We made it into the vault, grabbed Nick, and made strides towards the exit. But one final opponent stood in our way, Skinny Malone. But I wasn't in the mood for a monologue from this phony Italian cosplayer. I flung a Molotov at our boy and began unloading till he and his posse were dead. Back at Diamond City, Nikki sat us down for an interview, in which we learned of Kellogg the kidnapper. We broke into his apartment and used dog meat to track his scent. Reaching Kellogg's hideout, we were caught red-handed with our junk between our sweaty palms by a bunch of unfriendly expired microwaves. But they were no match for our crippled Giga Chad, and we evaporated them from this universe. Once reaching Kellogg, we gazed deeply into each other's eyes, but I couldn't get distracted by this beautiful, shiny-headed man. I started to unload every single bullet that was available to my arsenal, and we sent Kellogg to the Shadow Realm. Our next stop was visiting Amari. She played a vital part in allowing us to deep dive into Kellogg's abused mind. Through slow meandering, we reached the final memory and learned our son's whereabouts. Our next stop was seeing Virgil, but to get to him, we first had to cross the Glowing Sea. The Glowing Sea was an experience that I, as an individual, will never forget. With diminishing supplies, a large abundance of enemies that absolutely rammed me like a train, and the movement of a man who just soiled his underwear, the arena was set. I skirted through the outskirts to the best of my abilities, but to my surprise, I was welcomed by a Deathclaw. But luckily for us, I managed to somehow escape from this giant-sized lizard. And to top it all off, I managed to get myself stuck between a broken antenna and a rock. With a quick save 2 recent to save me from my embarrassing mistake, with 2 hours wasted and pure glistening rage rushing through my veins, I had no other choice but to do it all again. After a much needed mental break, we arrived at Virgil's, learned of some blessed tech, killed a courier, grabbed his chip, and made our way towards the railroad, who gave us the location ID for the Institute, and we were off to make our choice of the faction for this run. I made the choice of picking the hype beast this time around to spice up the run, and after fighting off some ghouls, we caught the attention of a paladin named Dance, who took us out for a test run and an assessment of my capabilities to rip and tear since. Luckily for us, Dance was too dense to objectively see that I was essentially role-playing as a less mobile version of Steve from Minecraft. To which after we took a vertibird, saving me countless amounts of time to meet with the head of the Brotherhood of Steel, and we were off to explore our new home. We replenished on some gear, to which after we went back to Maxon to tell him about our urgent situation of building a teleporter, to which he said,
Oh, hell no, man. What?
"You go here." Unfortunately, I was unable to see where he was pointing to due to the green musty fog that surrounded us during this conversation. We scaled towards the vertibird. I managed to bug it out and had to reload 2 saves because there was no way I was going to commit myself into punching my entire way there. We hopped on the vertibird and started to mow down a giant mutant and his cronies with a minigun. After which me and Dance made our spectacular entrance into Fort Strong, which was mostly a cakewalk, and we secured the nukes for our brotherhood. Maxon rewarded me by allowing us to build the teleporter to save our child. We got that bad boy running and teleported successfully into the Institute. We met with the demon spawn we've been chasing for the last 10 hours of my day, and it turned out this fucker was older than me. We respected our elders' wishes and took a tour of the facility, but in secret, we were here for only one target, and that was Dr. Lee. We gaslit Madison into coming back to the clan of the Brotherhood. As for us, we finished our tour and left the Institute without a goodbye to our beloved son. Maxon congratulated us on our successful retrieval of the good doctor, which after he shared with us a plan of creating the greatest comeback since Fallout 3. Liberty Prime. But to get this baddie running, we were tasked with the retrieval of some magnets, with some slight hiccups. No, oh fuck. We scored some high tier magnets, but we were missing a key ingredient for our boy Liberty, and that was some nukes. Wait. Where is it? Oh no. God no, please not again. We made our way back into the desolate hellhole of a landscape, which looked similar to modern New York. Luckily for us, the opposition was a lot less heavy compared to last time. Once inside the nipple-looking pyramid, we made our way down and secured much-needed nukes for Liberty Prime. Once returning to the battalion of the Brotherhood, our plot got twisted. Our mentor Dance turned out to be a synth. Maxon urged us to hunt him down and exterminate him. We narrowed down our guru, ready to off our boy, but deep down, I knew in good conscience that I wouldn't be able to fulfill my mission and instead negotiate the survival of our teacher. I managed to convince Maxon and received a much needed promotion. With my new promotion, I was so excited that I took initiative and took the railroad head on. After a few attempts, we managed to decimate the railroad mommy and her crew and secured the Pambot, after which we returned to the airport. We grabbed Ingram and headed to look for the final part of Liberty Prime. Arriving at the tower, we took the elevator, gunning down synths on our way down. We reached the bottom of the elevator. I nearly died of radiation poisoning, but I grabbed the nuclear core and met with our arch nemesis, the sentry drone. But this time around, it was a cakewalk. With the nuclear core in our hands, Liberty Prime was primed to ravage through the Commonwealth. But here I faced my toughest challenge yet. I actually couldn't get on top of the platform to load him up. But through adversity, I've parkoured on some missiles and powered up the big boy for mass destruction. I hobbled after Liberty while he spouted anti-communism messages. We reached the entrance of the institution, blown past multiple synths, and said my final goodbyes to our son. We planted a bomb on the institution's reactor and teleported away to safety, which meant the Fallout 4 can't be beaten with all broken limbs.